victoria, en mi debut, sobre todo. Nada, solo me queda decirles que Ecuador está creciendo y pues en el deporte también. Entonces, no, de verdad estoy muy contento por esta gran victoria.
Really happy. Couldn't be happier, not only for myself, but for Ecuador as well, because Ecuador is growing and the sport is growing in Ecuador. Just really, more than anything, really happy to be here in my first and win my first fight.
You were earlier on the card, and then you guys both got bumped up to the pay-per-view. So, could you feel the difference in the crowd? Because Brandon's at the top. There's a lot of Mexican fighters, and they're all now in the arena for the pay-per-view. So, how important was it to fight in that open pay-per-view slot?
Primeramente estabas a preliminares, ahí se cambió y estás ahora en cartel principal. ¿Sentiste la diferencia de estar ahí y ver todos? Y encima ahora que Brendan está, entonces todos los luchadores llegaron a la hinchada que estaba acá. Mayor, ¿cómo fue tu sentimiento de estar en ese momento del main card, de cartel principal?
No, por suerte puedo controlar mis pensamientos, puedo estar en calma durante mi preparación, incluso si me suben o bajan cartelera estelar o preliminar. De verdad eso es lo de menos. Lo único que hago es enfocarme en mi pelea, estar calmado, estar atento a lo que hago y pues estoy muy contento de que mis compañeros hayan compartido cartelera conmigo. Entonces, a pesar de lo que haya pasado en la pelea, estoy muy feliz por ellos porque han llegado hasta donde están, porque no muchos lo hacen, entonces de verdad estoy muy contento.
Actually, and it doesn't matter as much to actually be in a different part of the car, just because fortunately, I'm able to control my thoughts and be focused on the fight, and that's the only thing I can control, which is the fight in front of me. And I'm very happy for all my gym, my team members in the gym, because even though the stuff they happened before, they were able to make it here, which is for so many people so hard, and not many can. So just to be able to share this moment with everyone from Intra Gym was very important.
Speaking of looking at the fight specifically, Trevin seemed to put you in a couple rough spots before you ended up taking advantage, hurting him and putting him away. So, was there anything that just caught you off guard when he hurt you, and then you had to recompose, or did he just kind of catch? Was it what he did that caught you off guard?
Primeramente, cuando empezó la lucha, obviamente él tuvo una ventaja y te la firmó un poco, encontró oportunidades. ¿Qué pasó ahí? O sea, fue una oportunidad que te bajaste la guardia y él tuvo la oportunidad de hacerlo, o algo pasó que él entró un poquito y estaba un poco en ventaja hasta el momento que diste la vuelta y ganaste.
Sí, pues tuvo un golpe muy bueno, estaba yo un poco nervioso, ansioso por lo de la pelea, entonces tuvo un buen golpe, me dio un buen golpe, me conectó bien, pero no me desorientó, entonces seguía en la pelea, continuaba, lo que tenía que hacer era seguir defendiendo, controlarme. Me logró derribar incluso, pero todo bien, todo tranquilo, estuve tranquilo hasta el momento de pararme donde ya tenía que yo conectar, ahora devolverle lo que me había hecho, entonces todo salió bien, gracias a Dios.
Well, at the end, everything turned out all right, but yet he was able to impose some pressure. He connected on a couple strikes. He had a really good strike there, but thankfully I didn't get kind of knocked down by my senses, so everything was fine. So all I had to do was focus on continuing to defend, to turn things around, and start going after him. So thankfully nothing happened there. I was able to turn things around, and then it was my turn to strike that.
The last one for me, Trevin for a long time said he has the best jab in the UFC. So how would you rate it after spending so much time in there with him?
Él dijo muchas veces que tiene el mejor jab del UFC. Ahora que estuviste ahí en el octágono con él, ¿qué dices acerca del jab de él? ¿Cómo lo ves siendo un oponente de él?
No me noqueó, o sea, tiene buen jab, pero no noquea, entonces sí es bueno. Todo peleador para mí es un peleador de nivel, su categoría, su experiencia lo es todo. Yo respeto eso, pero también trabajo con gente fuerte, con gente dura, entonces tuve un rival fuerte con experiencia, pero supe entrenarme bien, entonces las cosas se dieron así, si Dios las quiso y aquí estamos.
He might have a good job, but he didn't knock you down. So yes, it is good, and every fight is good. He's a very experienced fighter. Everyone here, I have a lot of respect for everyone because these are all high-level fighters, so it doesn't matter who it is. But at the end of the day, we're able to get a victory, and I respect them. But we came out on top.
Thank you, sir.
Michael, right here. Michael, I noticed at the weigh-ins you've made this particular symbol with your hands. Can you explain what it was? Hiciste una seña con tus manos en el weigh-in. ¿Puedes explicar qué es?
Es como el significado de la academia donde se quedan los peleadores en México. En la academia, en la casa del profe Raúl, significa manilla. Entonces, lo suelo hacer por ellos porque los representa y se sienten bien con eso. Y pues algunos también le ponen mi nombre porque es una M prácticamente. Entonces, a eso va.
This is the hand sign that he did, the hand signal that he did, exactly. And it's from us at Intron Gym. We use that sign, and also it means an M from because of my name. So it not only it ties with the hand signal that we all use at the gym, but it was out of respect for them, and also my name is out there.
Michael, just one here, part of your right. How do you feel you did this fight from like 1 to 10? Sort of a score give yourself and how you feel about your overall performance.
Si pudiera dar un por lo que te hoy de ese 10, ¿cómo le autoanálisis?
Ok, considero que es un 8. Me pateó bien, pero también de segunda pelea le di la vuelta y controlé, yo digo, la manera de los golpes un poquito. Entonces yo me considero que estoy... Hey.
I consider it to be. I think you can actually. I was able to turn around and win. I think that there were things to be improved. But 8 would be fair.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hola. ¿Podemos? ¿Podemos?
Claro.
Cuestión con Morales contra Michael. Ok, muchas gracias. Michael, es el esfuerzo que has hecho para estar aquí, para estar en ti.
Are we live? I think we're live.
The rest of
I think we might be.
the rest of the questions are going to be in Spanish.
Michael Morales was at the podium. In the meantime, Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, Jeff Cain, MMA Weekly's live coverage of UFC 270. And Jeff, man, we haven't been, I mean, we've been gone for a long time, man. You turned 50. There was Christmas. I turned 50. And New Year's, I was in the hospital with pneumonia and COVID. I mean, I feel like I haven't talked to you or seen you in years.
Yeah, lots happened, man. I mean, a lot has happened. New Year, and hell, we're about to the end of January. It's kind of crazy. It has been a while, man.
It really is crazy. And you think about it, we're coming back tonight for a huge pay-per-view card. We didn't do a show last week. We have some internet issues at the in Anaheim at the Honda Center, where our Scott Peterson's on location. Morales was at the podium. I think we're cool now. We got it all locked in. Meanwhile, we saw a TKO at 406 of the first round. Michael Morales over Trevin Giles at welterweight. Then at bantamweight, Cody Stamann gets submitted. 47 seconds, a guillotine by Said Nurmagomedov. Not that anybody named Nurmagomedov is good at submissions or anything like that, but Said, 47 seconds, impressive win for him. And now we're getting ready for Michel Pereira and Andre Fialho. And Fialho, a late replacement, of course. But then right there after that, with these quick finishes, the two first rounders, you got the co-main event, Brandon Moreno, Davison Figueiredo for the flyweight championship, the first trilogy in UFC history where all three fights were back-to-back-to-back, where neither fighter fought anybody else in between because there's nobody else at flyweight, let's be real. And then the heavyweight unification, which I still can't believe is coming out of my mouth, championship, Ciryl Gane, the interim title holder, which I still can't believe is coming out of my mouth, and Francis Ngannou, the champion, which of course I believe coming out of my mouth. So when I think about Francis Ngannou and I think about Ciryl Gane and I think back to the Derek Lewis fight in Houston and Ciryl Gane gets the belt at 10-0 and they were mad at Francis. They needed another title fight for the Houston card, whatever it was. And it seems like a long time ago, but there's no denying. And I've been on Ciryl Gane for a long time saying how great he is and he's going to get a title shot. I never thought it would be this soon under these circumstances, but the former teammates, the whole storyline, they shared a coach. I mean, just an unbelievable, and the fact that it's Francis's last fight under his UFC contract, all these things just make it, must-see TV tonight for both these fights, but especially for the main event.
Yeah, there's a bunch of storylines surrounding the main event for sure, and even the co-main. It's like you said, this is the first time that they fought three times. Trilogies happened back to back to back. And they've all been title fights. Went to a majority draw, and then Moreno was able to get the submission win, and now they're going to run it back a third time. And in the main event, you laid it all out, man. Former teammates, had the same coach. There's been some drama with sparring footage that come out, and then the weird press conference where Francis, was saying that he knocked out Gane in training, and Gane said, no, you didn't. It's interesting. A lot of storylines, though, man. This is a great way to kick off 2022 with pay-per-views, man.
It really is. I mean, and when you think about this one, I mean, do you remember a champion who was in his last fight under contract and like literally takes the belt and walks away from the UFC, especially the baddest man on the planet, right? The heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou. He's been talking about boxing Tyson Fury. He's been talking about all kinds of stuff. I'm not fighting for 500-600K again. And, you don't blame the guy with what he's come from. But I don't remember any instance where a champion literally just walked away with the belt after winning.
Randy Couture, when he way back left and went to rings or something like that.
Randy, of course, that's right. Randy did it. Yeah.
I mean, it was a long time ago. And that BJ Penn, they stripped. I mean, he left and went and fought in K1 against their wishes, and they stripped him, and he ended up coming back. But yeah, it's a weird situation. But there is a clause in the contract. It's kind of weird because Francis seems like he wants out of that contract, and well, you're not out of that contract if you win. It carries over for, I don't know if it's a year or I know it's at least one more fight.
Right. And we lost some fights on this card. It was rumored for a while that we'd see Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier on this one in the co-main, which probably would have been 5 rounds. We had Alexei Oleinik and Greg Hardy, and then Oleinik had to withdraw because of undisclosed reasons, and then Sergey Spivak took his place, and then a week before the fight, Greg Hardy withdraws. I mean, we've literally had some fighters withdraw from this card and different things that have happened to get us here. It happens, again, I mean, how about the Jared Cannonier, Derek Brunson fight? That's moved to UFC 271 3 weeks from now. So we were supposed to have that one, maybe Diaz and Poirier. Yeah. So it lost a little bit of luster in terms of the fights underneath the main and the co-main, but this is as good as a main and a co-main as you're ever going to see. And we were talking about Moreno and Figueiredo as Andre Fialho. He's got a 4-fight win streak going. 12 of his 14 wins with 11 knockouts, 12 finishes, a 4-fight win streak, making his UFC debut against Michel Pereira. And that's a tough opponent for anybody. But when I look at Moreno and Figueiredo, man, this is the 3rd fight. The first one, Figueiredo beat him up early, big time. Moreno withstood it. We couldn't believe it. He got the hook going. His chin was incredible that night. Figueiredo wore down, but then he came on strong in the 5th so that he kept his title. And then in Phoenix in June, Moreno submitted him in the 2nd round. So when I look at these two fighters, I look at Figueiredo having cardio issues, and things with maybe like not pacing himself and a little bit mental, I think, too, with him. And he went to Fight Ready and Neuroforce 1. He took the Henry Cejudo route. John Jones is going there. Kelvin Gastelum's going there. Paulo Costa's been there. The Korean Zombie, Zhang Wei Li. I mean, you name it. Fight Ready's becoming a mecca with Neuroforce 1 in Scottsdale. And Figueiredo's been there for months now, training with Henry Cejudo every single day, wrestling, learning that champion's mentality, and also Figueiredo getting the benefit of Cejudo's knowledge of Brandon Moreno because he had worked with him years ago, and much has been made about that beef. But when I look at Figueiredo and his training and his cardio and everything they do at Fight Ready and Neuroforce 1, he is not going to be anywhere near the same fighter tonight that Moreno faced those other 2 times. So Moreno better have evolved a lot if he expects to Figueiredo, a much different and much improved Figueiredo.
Yeah, I mean, Figueiredo looked good in the first fight. And in the second fight, if you remember, he had a terrible weight cut. He looked terrible on the weigh-in day. And then it showed in the fight. He gassed out early and got taken.
It was exciting.
Fight goes because Moreno doesn't quit. It's a tough matchup for anybody. Moreno's kind of a hard nut to crack,
Yeah, he really is. And I mean, he's got that left hook. He's got that chin. His striking he's like a typical Mexican striker boxer. I mean, with the left hook and the chin, but he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, as is Figueiredo. So I've talked to coaches for both guys. I've talked to strength coaches. I've talked to Moreno's coach, and they said they've been watching Figueiredo working in his wrestling with Henry Cejudo, and they see submissions all over that. Of course, and so Figueiredo's going to want to be careful. He's, of course, a big-time striker. The thing that I'm wondering with Figueiredo tonight, Jeff, is does he come out like he always does, going crazy right in the beginning, looking to finish guys right away? It's worked for him in the past, the energy, the blitz that he usually starts a fight with. Is he going to pace himself a little bit more? Is he going to try to conserve a little bit of that energy? And a direct quote from one of his coaches, and I can't say which one, of course, but a direct quote from someone who was there every day in Figueiredo's camp. He said he's in the best shape he's ever been in. His cardio's on point. He's stronger than ever. And then the next part of that text was, Does he have the tools to get it done? That's the only question. So obviously beat him, but Figueiredo's ready. He's in prime condition, the best he's ever been. But does he have the skill set to beat Brandon Moreno? Because he hasn't beaten him yet.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting. I mean, it's a very interesting fight. I think that Figueiredo has the skills to do it. He didn't get it done in the last fight, obviously, and in the first fight he didn't get it done. But then he did retain the belt. So I think that he has the skill set. I mean, I actually think that he's a more technical fighter standing anyway than Moreno. On the ground, it's a different story. Moreno is very deceptive on the ground. He's slick, man. I'll him. If I'm Figgy, unless I had to, unless I get in trouble. Now you might want to use those takedowns and everything to stall and wear Moreno down a little bit to slow him down. But I wouldn't go out there and try to wrestle him if I was Figueiredo.
No doubt. And I'm looking forward to that one, but that'll be after the one that's coming up right now. And by the way, hit us up in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking about the co-main and the main. We got the chat going pretty well so far. And we got a lot of people contributing and putting some things in there. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win? Moreno, Figueiredo? Subscribe, hit the bell, throw up some comments in the chat. We'll read them on the show. We're very interactive here. Is it going to be Deiveson Figueiredo coming through to win back that belt that he was so proud to win and be the champion? Is it going to be Brandon Moreno retaining that belt, or will Figueiredo walk away with it? And that's about 50-50 if you ask people. And, of course, Moreno, the favorite. And then you look at the main event, which is unbelievable. Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou. Who do you think is going to win that one? Francis Ngannou, Jeff, is an underdog. Can you believe Francis Ngannou is an underdog? And he's not. This is unbelievable to think of Ngannou as Ciryl Gane in this fight.
Yeah, it's. I mean, he's not a big underdog, but yeah, he's the betting underdog. Maybe it was to get money flowing. I don't know, but we're few fights, and his movement is going to give Francis problems. Where Gane is, you have to look out for when Francis explodes, man. He explodes. And so you can't be backed up against the cage and all that. You've got to have room to get the hell out of there. But I think that just a lot of people see the footwork and the speed of Gane is going to give Francis a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the footwork and the speed and the fact that he's a computer, man, and just rewatching that Derek Lewis fight, the first couple rounds, kind of learning him, getting the distance, and that's what his coaches say. Fernand Lopez says, hey, you give him time to learn a little bit. And Ngannou's been at Extreme Couture. He's a different fighter, obviously trained a lot with Eric Nixick and everybody there. So a completely different Ngannou as Pereira unloading early on Fialho, making his UFC debut from Sanford MMA. And Pereira is a huge favorite, minus 290, plus 225 for Fialho. But what a golden opportunity. I mean, you're right before two of the biggest fights you're going to see all year in the co-main against Pereira at welterweight, and you're making your UFC debut. So nothing to lose for him. Golden opportunity for the fighter out of Sanford MMA. But interestingly enough, Jeff, when we look at the odds, and you talked about the odds should be about the same right now, Gane is a computer, man. And watching him against Lewis, he's switching from left to right. He's going southpaw. He's going orthodox. He's just switching all. And then he attacks the opponent's weaknesses so well by getting the distance, by getting in, getting out. He did it to Rosenstrike all night long. Just step in, get the jabs real quick, score the points, get out before Rosenstrike could hit him. The same thing against Volkov. He's so quick and so smart that he's very hard to time out and very hard to hit. But then he times you out. And what he did to Derek Lewis, I mean, Derek Lewis was too slow to even get a hand on him. Derek Lewis couldn't touch Ciryl Gane, that's how he is. But he learned him, and then what he did was he attacked the lead leg to take away Lewis's power, just kept hitting him with those leg kicks. Then the push kicks to the front, right in the gut, taking away his cardio and his win. Those are the two weaknesses of Derek Lewis, because you're taking away his strength by kicking that lead leg, and you make it a weakness because he can't put that power on it. And then you hit him in the stomach and take away his cardio. That's the kind of fighter Ciryl Gane is. So what are Ngannou's weaknesses? What will Gane expose if he has his way tonight? Those are really important questions coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Gane, his jab is, if his jab is effective as it has been tonight, then Francis is going to have some issues. I think the kicks could actually get Gane in trouble, because Francis fires off combinations right after a kick. Because you're kind of stationary for a second in front of him. And so that could get him in trouble, man. But on the inside, Gane's elbows, man. I mean, I think that Gane is the more skilled fighter. I think that he's light on his feet. His jab is ridiculous. He's got great kicks and he's got ridiculous elbows on the inside. Francis has, unmatched knockout power. And he's not slow either. He's strong and in the clinch, he can definitely kind of manhandle people. So, it's an interesting fight, man. I think that a lot of people that I've talked to leading up to this are kind of like, can Gane go 25 minutes without getting clipped? And we're going to see. I don't think this fight goes 25 minutes regardless who wins.
No, and Pereira is actually trying to jump and throw some knees. He's getting worked up a little bit by Fialho, who's in his UFC debut. Jeff Fialho has been touching him up a little bit. So I'm really excited about this future for Fialho because Pereira is a very, very tough fighter at 170, flashy, super talented, maybe hasn't put it all together yet. But, man, to see what Fialho's doing in this fight, his corner and his fans, people from his gym, they must be excited, man.
Yeah, he's looking good right now for sure. There was a lot of people who made their promotional debuts tonight. All of the preliminary fight card, each fight was somebody making their debut, and then there was one on the early prelims. And then this is a big one. You're leading into the 2 title fights. This is a hell of an opportunity, and against somebody who's pretty hyped.
Oh, Pereira just drilled him with a right, and he kind of walks through it. I mean, he's been on some big fight cards before, right? I mean, he's been on LFA, he's been in the PFL. I believe he was on a Bellator card or two. Yeah, he did. He fought a bunch of times in Bellator, so he just hasn't fought in the UFC yet. Oh, he drops Pereira with a left hook when Pereira came in with a kick, and that might have been part slip, but Pereira's in big trouble with about 12 seconds left in the round. And he might survive here, but this has been a tough round for Pereira. Maybe the round for Fialho here.
Yeah, you're about 20 seconds ahead of me, but yeah, man, you score a knockdown, and that was a competitive round anyway. I think that he, won that round, especially with the knockdown.
Do you call it a knockdown?
I don't know. I don't know.
Part slip or
I don't know. Yeah, I think that was maybe a combination of both. He was throwing a knee, kind of, and so he lost his footing. I don't know if the punch even landed, but look, a judge on the other side of the cage might think that was a knockdown.
Yeah. Right. I mean, Pereira he's breathing heavy in the corner. He's just, I mean, I don't have any sound on, unfortunately, but I mean, it's just a tough round for him. Let me see if I can see the numbers here, Jeff. Not by much. In our Nurmagomedov, MMA.
Спасибо то, что
I'm glad.
though. Хотел
I didn't change.
So items I hear that they fight tools without people able to get in quickly.
Это часть.
So when to back in there?
I want for I ready to back. I gonna clean art at the
Does he have mind?
place up. Talk about cheer before anything.
Is in sitting in the front. You see out
Среди видел.
Да, выходил на в зале.
To act him, bad luck.
and he messed later to Daniel heard and he
говорит, Америка против Дагестана.
Американцы более очень обойки начался.
We're not a fair version of a win there.
Not rest kick. I think if it please him, someone will be.
Overhead. So have a name, mostly from Legendmaker, a kicker. You win by the rising from people. It's important. Something they want to.
Здесь очень деньги. То, что решил болеть с Олимп, это там что-то имеет какое-то значение.
Не имение. Хоть мне догадаться.
каждый бой что-то наказать. Будем в следующем, что придумаем. Show some you that I will not this fight in naked action.
Excellent. Very, very performance. Congrats.
Right here. Just want to, it's very exciting. Are you probably bonus?
Думаю, yes, I
Like it's because CP you're in the rest and then you just press everybody liking.
Тебе помогает, что люди думают, что ты
Getting audio from Honda Center time on Sagomedov. You guys hear me?
I'm pitching my and I'm striking.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Side over here, mate. As when you act like that, which you and so
You can hear me, Scott. I
you
need to
feel
take
like
it.
add a fight.
А ты понял, что этот бой быстро закончился?
Не понял. Разогреть. Развивался.
I don't know poker.
There was some press conference. I mean, understand later, but happy. So apologize on the technical difficulties at time. Got Wrek for came was good, got it back and fight. Fialho's boom, backing down. She's rolling to he's head off. Provided us fight. Bad looking.
Has some action issue there. Here right now, Wrek is by third.
I think it's net.
Oh, I'm dropped out.